Happy Saturday, guys. Welcome. We got a nice 4-game slate to go over today. Hope you guys had a good night last night. And yeah, if you guys are new to the channel, welcome. Again, we'll take a look at what we know so far, review the Vegas odds. I'll go team by team, talk about the players I like, and then get to questions at the end. I don't think we have starters out yet. And really the only big piece of news we're waiting on is Russell Westbrook and the availability of him. I expect him to go by looking at the Vegas odds, but you never know. So again, the Heat Bucks game, this has been a blowout last couple of games. Obviously must win now for the Heat. 221.5 over under. It's only a 5-point spread, which means it's a lock to blow out. Nuggets and Blazers at 227 over under. The Blazers 4-point favorites. 76ers and Wizards at 227.5 over under. Again, 76ers are only 6-point favorites here, so would guess Westbrook plays based on that. And then Jazz and Grizzlies at 224 over under. The Jazz are 5-point favorites. So we'll start off now with Milwaukee and Miami, first game here. And let's get it, Walker. And yes, we'll start with Giannis Antetokounmpo, 10.7K. Kind of my same breakdown as the last few. I mean, basically most of the playoff slates, as it is much tougher to get these stars into your lineup during the postseason than it is the regular season, because there's just not as much value, right? So if you're playing, one of like Giannis or Jokic or one of those really expensive guys, you're probably going to play at least one guy below 4K. So just a matter of, are you confident with enough of those value plays to get Giannis in there, right? That is the question. DK the Go, I won 2K last night. Hey, appreciate that, man. Thank you. And congrats on the big win. Nice job. So yeah, Giannis. Again, I like Giannis. I just don't know if it's worth it to sacrifice to get him in there. I think I would rather go on the opposite side of the ball once again to Jimmy Butler for way cheaper. So, yeah, Giannis, again, like him. It's just what you had to sacrifice to get him in. With Middleton and Drew, Middleton actually I'll probably stay away from. He's not been great this series. If I'm going to take a shot in a second, a mid-range guy for the Bucks, it would be Drew Holiday. Now, is he a must at this price? No. I think there might be guys that look a little bit better at the price points, but Drew's been phenomenal. He really has, and he should play in a close game, probably close to 40 minutes. We saw 42. I guess that game was an overtime. It's probably about 35 plus, I would say, in a close game. But again, he's been having the ball in his hands a ton, double-digit assists 2 of the last 3 games. I think Drew Holiday looks like a pretty solid contrarian play in the mid-range. Again, he's been really, really good in the series. Also, DiVincenzo out. Does that affect Drew? Maybe a slight boost, but I don't think it does a ton. Going down the list a little bit more, I think Brook Lopez is a safer value play. We know he should play in a close game about 30 minutes, and he's probably not going to kill you, but probably not going to go out and get you a crazy score either. And yeah, so that's kind of my thoughts on Brolo. With the Valley here, so this is where it gets interesting in Bryn Forbes and Pat Connaughton, because I would guess one of these guys start. It was Forbes that started the second half last game. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about this, because if Bryn Forbes starts, he's going to be very popular. Now, he's been shooting the ball well this series. He has. But, right? This is still a realistic outcome of single-digit fantasy points if he's not hitting his shots. And I don't think there's a lock that he just gets all these minutes with DiVincenzo out. I think what happens is Pat Connaughton play a little bit more, and maybe they add one more guy to the rotation. Maybe the veteran Jeff Teague cracks the rotation now. We've kind of seen that with Milwaukee. They like running a little bit of a deeper bench. So, I'm not convinced that with DiVincenzo out, that Bryn Forbes all of a sudden is going to play 30-plus minutes. I don't think that's how it's going to go. And he might be a little bit over-owned because there's lack of value. So, if you are going up for one of the stars, I think people are going to look to a guy like Forbes for some salary relief. With all that being said, again, I don't think he's a terrible play. The same exact thing I said about Tim Hardaway Jr., though, right? And I was hammering home, hey, Tim Hardaway Jr. is going to be over-owned. And people are like, no, we're playing Hardaway Jr. No, he's going to hit his shots. You saw what happened to THJ. He played 40 minutes and busted because he didn't hit his shots. And again, that can happen with score-independent players. So that's just the concern with a guy like Bryn Forbes. Pat Connaughton, again, we'll see what they do with the starting lineup. I would think he plays over 20 minutes. I think a fair guess for his minutes is 20 to 25 at 3.4K. That is doable. He's a guy that actually can get some rebounds, some assists, some blocks, some steals. So yeah, Pat C and Bryn Forbes are definitely in play here. I'm not going to play PJ Tucker. Again, I think there's a chance maybe like Jeff T cracks the rotation now, like the regular rotation, but I'm not taking a shot on him. So that's where I'm at right now for the Bucks. Let's move on to Miami. All right, on the Miami side, Jimmy Butler at 8.6K. Once again, it stands out as a really, really good play. Just a matter of, can they keep this game close? Oh, yeah, Bobby Portis. Good call. Sorry about that. I didn't mean to gloss over Bobby Portis. So, yeah, Bobby Portis, I think, is a good tournament play. He's going to play most likely around 15 to 20 minutes. He's played first 4 games in this series, 19, 17, 18, and 17. So somewhere around 15 to 20. He's a good point per minute guy. He's cracked 20-plus fantasy points in 3 of the last 4 games. Like, for me, I would much rather play Bobby Portis than Bryn Forbes. That, like, even though he might play less, like, give me the good point per minute guy that can do it all, as opposed to a guy that has to hit 3. So, like, yeah, I would rather play Bobby Portis over Forbes every single day. So back to Miami though. Forbes going to be 60%. You think? You think he's going to be that popular? I don't know. I mean, if that's the case, I'm good going elsewhere then. So yeah, Jimmy Butler, I like a lot at the top. Bam Adebayo, just more of a contrarian play. He's been awful this series. I have no confidence even at that price. He's kind of reminds me of just like a Porzingis, right? I tried to roll the dice and hope Porzingis kind of got back to recent form earlier in the season, and he was just looked absolutely awful. And Bam has really looked bad. So I'm not going there. Goran Dragic, once again, my second favorite player for the Heat. I think he starts and plays about 35 minutes. Lost minutes to a blowout last game. Also shot absolutely awful. But Dragic, I think, is one of the better plays in the mid-range on the slate. I really like him again. Staying away from Hero. No way I'm going to Ariza. Duncan Robinson, same thing I'll say, right? Got to hit his threes. He's playable, but also has a low floor if he's not hitting his shots. None I'll stay away from. Dedmon will play the backup 5. Don't know if we have to go there. He didn't play at all alongside Bam. And then Bjelica, he did actually play well when he got in, kind of in garbage time. I would guess he gets in the regular rotation today. We'll see, though. So, like, if you want to roll the dice on a Bjelica, I actually don't hate it. I just think there is some risk with him. All right, Denver and Portland. So, on the Denver side, again, Jokic, obviously like him at the top. And just what do you have to sacrifice to get him in? Gone for 50-plus last 3 games. Should play 35-ish minutes. It's a great matchup. So, Jokic, I think, looks really, really solid. Michael again, tilted hard about it last night. It's just, I rarely ever play this guy, and I've played him back-to-back playoff slates because he was a clear play, and he busts both times. So this means he's going to go off this game because I'm most likely not going to play him. But he should play about 35 minutes. He's been their number 2 offensively most of the year, I guess, except for the playoffs. So I don't really know what to do with Michael Porter Jr. here. I'm guessing he's going to have a big game, and if he does, I'm going to be very, very upset. Campozo at 6K, just a price point thing. Would rather get to the cheaper guards in this team. So with that being said, Monte Morris and Austin Rivers are the 2 value plays I'm kind of looking to. Monte Morris, somewhere around 25 minutes off the bench, been a good point per minute guy. I think he's pretty solid at 4-5. And Austin Rivers played close to 40 minutes last game. So these 2, I think, are good value plays. Also, Aaron Gordon's a fine filler. He did play 34 minutes. That's good to see. I think normally we get about 30 minutes from him. So, yeah, fine play. And guys like Millsap and Jamal Green are viable dart throws off the bench for GPPs. On the Portland side, so Damian Lillard, again, scary fade. It's just a matter of, can you get him in there? Should play about 40 minutes. Going to shoot the ball an insane amount of times. 25, 24, and 31 shot attempts now for Damian Lillard. So, kind of crazy there. Obviously, like him if you can afford him. CJ McCollum maybe fits a little bit better in the optimal lineup, since I think the optimal lineup is a little more balanced. 7.3K, also should play about 40 minutes. Doesn't have the upside as Lillard, but again, he's also going to get a ton of shot attempts up. Nurkic, I said this in the video, he was on pace for about 40 minutes last game. He was going to absolutely smash. Just a matter of, do you think he can stay out of foul trouble? That's the only way he doesn't get there. If he plays anywhere close to 40 minutes, he's going to break the slate. He's going to break the slate. But, again, there's a probably better than 50% chance he gets in foul trouble. And if he picks up 2 quick ones, I'm going to be very tilted, and you will see me tilting hard on Twitter because I am playing Yusuf Nurkic as I do most slates. Norman Powell, Robert Compton, they're actually fine filler options. Powell going to play big minutes, 35-ish. Again, kind of has to hit the shots to get there. And Rocco, not the best shooter, but can get some rebounds, get some blocks, some steals. Played almost 40 minutes last game. Fair value. Melo, fine GPP value play off the bench. I think about 20 to 25. Again, has to hit the shots. And I'm not touching anyone else in this Portland team. All right, we're halfway through, guys. We are at 240 viewers, only 39 likes. If you're just coming in, if you could, leave a like button on the live stream. It helps me out a lot. And I'll try to aim for 100 before I get out of here. I'm going a little bit faster because I want to get to some questions at the end. All right, Philadelphia and Washington. On the Philadelphia side, I mean, I like Embiid a lot here if you can afford him. In a close game, we probably get 35 plus minutes. Again, this game, foul trouble. This game, blowout. So I think that might lower the ownership in Embiid. He's below 10K, and this is the Wizards. Like, he has insane upside here. I think he's going a little bit overlooked, but I think Embiid was one of my favorite, if not my favorite, spend up on the slate. I really like Joel Embiid. Ben Simmons at 7.6K has been phenomenal. I mean, I don't know what's got into him, but now he's just turned back the clock to like a couple years ago where he's just getting a triple-double almost every single game. And this is a fantastic matchup. The only thing you have to worry about is potential for a blowout. But right now, it is hard to get away from Ben Simmons. So I think he looks really, really solid here in the mid-range. Tobias Harris, fully expect him to play. He tweaked his ankle in practice. Again, I think he'll be good to go. Assuming he is, we should get about 35 minutes from him. I think he's also looked solid. Again, the first couple slates in the higher dollar stuff, all three of these guys have been very popular, and a lot of people played all three together. Now, in a 4-game slate, I don't think you should do that, but just want to say the Philadelphia guys look good. Again, obviously the best matchup here. Guys like Seth Curry and Dan Green are playable for value. You got to know what you're getting into when you play this, guys. Seth Curry, got to hit his shots to get there. 4-7. Same thing with Danny Green, right? They don't do anything else besides shoot the ball. So those two, fine values. Again, though, there is some risk with them. And if I had to roll dice in one value play off the bench, probably would be George Hill, 18, 22 minutes, 23 minutes. I think we get about close to 20 minutes from him off the bench. So larger field play, maybe if you need someone super, super cheap, I think George Hill is doable. All right, on the Wizards side, it just depends on Russell Westbrook. I fully expect him to play because of the Vegas odds. You never know, though. You never know. So the tricky part is if Westbrook gets rolled out, then this game in general becomes really tricky because then that really increases the chance of the blowout, so it makes the Philadelphia guys riskier. But then you have like Brad Beal, who is just going to be the do-it-all guy and becomes close to a must because if this game stays close, he's going to absolutely smash. So it's a tricky one there. So yeah, Westbrook, if he plays, I have no interest in him. Would still rather get to Beal. If Westbrook misses, then Beal becomes a really, really good play here at 9K and would be someone I would be for sure considering to get in. And then if Westbrook's out, I mean, guys like Ish Smith, Roll Neto, probably get more minutes. We'll keep an eye on the starting lineup, but both those guys would be decent value plays. The rest of the Wizards, there's not much here. Rui at 4.9, secondary play. I mean, if you want to take a shot on Gafford and hope he stays out of foul trouble, you can. He's the best point per guy of the two. Bertans is once again in play. Again, though, right, that you got to know. Like, that's a realistic outcome for a guy that has to hit threes. So, know the risk. He was popular last slate. Again, I'm not saying you can't get there. It just, you has to hit threes, right? All right, finally, Utah and Memphis. So, Utah, Donovan Mitchell, I'm going to stay away from. It was really, really frustrating. I'm very annoyed that how do we not get news that he's on a minutes limit, right? Nothing before the game, nothing. My assumption was he was going to play close to full minutes since it's the playoffs. But after the game starts, we knew he's on a 25 minutes limit. It's like, how do we not get that, right? That's just BS. But yeah, so if we don't get news, I think there's still a decent chance he is on a minutes limit because that's what happened last game. We didn't get any news, and he was on a minutes limit. So I'm going to take a wait-and-see approach here with Donovan Mitchell. If he comes out and plays 38 minutes and crushes a low ownership, so be it. Then I'll be a little bit tilted, but it is what it is. I'm going to take a wait-and-see. I'm guessing they're still going to limit his minutes. Now, the two guys I think really stand out, and again, more balanced building's optimal. So two guys I think you can look to here are Rudy Gobert and Mike Conley. Rudy Gobert, I very much dislike this guy. Hate him. He's a flopper. I think he's I really don't like Rudy Gobert, but he went for 50 fantasy points last game. He's probably going to get you a double-double, can get some blocks. They need him out there against Jonas Valanciunas. So I think Rudy Gobert is a pretty safe play in the mid-range. And Mike Conley, I really like once again. He also played 37 minutes last game, right? He was a guy in the regular season playing 30-ish minutes. 37, that's a huge boost. 6'8", even if Mitchell plays full minutes, I still think Conley's a solid play. And if they limit Mitchell to 25 again, I love Conley. Great matchup. He's going to have the ball in his hands a ton. 11, 15 assists. I think Mike Conley looks like a really solid play here in the mid-range. The rest of the Jazz a little bit overpriced with Mitchell in. So guys like Clarkson, Bojan, Ingles, I'll stay away from. Royce O'Neal's playable as a filler option. Should play big minutes. Again, low usage guy. And that's about it. Let's finish it up with Memphis and then get to some questions, guys. So Memphis side, John Morant, I think is a good GPP play. He went absolutely off. Went for almost 50 real-life points. Now, again, he had a really big first half because Jonas Valanciunas picked up 3 fouls in like 5 minutes. So all the usage then went to John Morant. Also, you had Dylan Brooks in foul trouble. So be careful, right? You had a lot of good variance go Ja Morant's way. You had their number 2, number 3 players both get in foul trouble, and guys like JV, super high usage, and Dillon Brooks. So, I mean, it could happen again. You never know, because both those guys have been in foul trouble a lot. But, like, that did obviously raise the ceiling a bunch on Ja Morant. I still think he's a good tournament play, but just don't expect for their second best and third best player to get in foul trouble again. Now, with Jonas Valanciunas, again, because it's just every single slate with me, I always get hit with foul trouble. He 5 or 6 minutes in the first half, 3 fouls. But I do want to mention the second half, he had 28 fantasy points. So, 28 fantasy points in the second half. Imagine if he got that in the first half, right? Then he's pushing for close to 60 fantasy points at no ownership. So Jonas Valanciunas, even though it's a bad matchup, is a really good point per minute guy. Same thing I'll say about Nurkic. Can he stay out of foul trouble? If he does, I think he'd have a really nice game at literally no ownership. And Dillon Brooks also got in foul trouble. He, like JV, has been in foul trouble a lot too, because he's going to guard their best offensive player. If he stays out of foul trouble, 35 to 40 minutes, he's going to get a ton of shot attempts up. I actually think he's a fair play in the mid-range. I do. And the rest of the Grizzlies, there's not much here. Slow-mo, I'll pass. Triple J, I mean, he's just in foul trouble. I mean, it's just a lock. Like I say about, potential foul trouble, Jonas Valanciunas, potential foul trouble, Dillon Brooks. It is just an absolute lock for Triple J to be in foul trouble. So I'm just not touching it. If he stays out of foul trouble and smashes, so be it. I'm just not doing it. And the bench guys, there's really not much here. Bane, I think, probably gets around 25 minutes, but is a low-usage guy. If you need someone super, super cheap, you could do worse, but it's just, That's all I got. That's all I got for Memphis. So, all right, let's refresh Fan Slabs one more time. Make sure you're up to date with everything. Let me take a swig of coffee. I am still a little bit tired here. All right, and let's get some questions. Got about 7-8 minutes for some questions. We are at almost 300 viewers and 71 likes. Appreciate it, guys. And let's do it. Okay, so I'm thinking Dragic and Holiday, but fade Jimmy. What do you think? Because if game's close, then Jimmy's probably going crazy. I think Jimmy Butler's going to be very popular again. At least in the higher stake stuff, he's been the absolute chalk last couple slates, and I agree with it. Right? If the game stays close, Jimmy's too cheap. So it's a pretty risky fade. And if you're thinking Dragic and Holiday, but fade Jimmy, I don't know if that makes a ton of sense, right? Because you're playing Dragic and Holiday, so obviously you need the game to stay close. If the game stays close, I don't see how Jimmy doesn't have a really big game. So I don't know if that makes a ton of sense. I think you could just fade the first game, or maybe play 1 or 2 value plays from it and hope for the blowout. But I don't know if I do that. I don't know if I play a couple guys, but then fade Jimmy. Top 5 FanDuel. Okay, let's see. What's up, DK? What's up, man? Beal or Jimmy? Right now it's Jimmy Butler. We don't know Westbrook's status. Now, if Westbrook gets ruled out, Beal looks phenomenal. Like I said, though, that increases the chance of the blowout. So the game would be a little bit riskier, but still, Beal look really good. Right now it is Jimmy, but I think Beal, if Westbrook gets ruled out, looks really, really solid. Can you go over tiers? Fortunately, just gotta leave questions for the main slate. I can go over tiers in the Patreon stream if you're in that, but yeah, just a time thing. Sorry, man. Let's see. Top fade. All right, top fade. I will say, Giannis and Westbrook, the 2 guys at the top, just because it's hard to get to them. Thanks for reminding me to make some coffee. LOL. Yeah. Why is Jackson so high owned? We're talking about FanDuel, right? With that, pick 2 of Conley, Simmons, and Dragic. Ooh, I like all 3. If Dragic starts, I think I want to play him. But I guess it depends. If you think the Miami game blows out, then you want to avoid Dragic. So, first 2, if you think the game blows out. If you think the game stays close, I think it would be Dragic plus Simmons, but I still like Conley a lot. DK, when MPJ was on the court, did he take a backseat in the offense? Yeah, he did. He kind of stood in the corner. He took a couple bad shots too, a couple contested threes. I know he's gonna have a good game. I still think he's a solid play. I do. He is underpriced, but I don't know if I can stomach playing him a 3rd straight game and him busting. For me, I'm way more confident in Jimmy Butler than I am Michael Porter Jr. I don't care how I feel about Jimmy doesn't care the Heat gonna get swept. Yeah, so that's the reasoning, right? That's the reasoning you fade the Miami guys. You think the game's a blowout. Are you fading JV? I don't have him in right now, but I like him a good amount for tournaments. Playing both Nurkic and JV, insane upside. I agree. I mean, especially in Nurk. Nurk, I think, again, he was on pace for 40 minutes. fading main guys in game 1. I'm playing Jimmy. So I'm playing Jimmy, which means the game will blow out again. Conley or Mitchell? It's Conley. Conley point per dollar. I'm just worried Mitchell's going to be on a limit again. Yeah, I mean, I was up late. I was up late making content. I was up to like 2 a.m., so I am also a little bit tired. Pick one between Lillard, Giannis, and Embiid. Ooh. I think if that game stays close, I think Embiid has the most upside. So I'll go Embiid. Prize picks. Okay, yeah. Let me do that really quick. Prize picks. Let's take a look at this. Let's go to fantasy score. I like the over on Dragic. I think if he starts again, that's too low. These are looking pretty sharp. Again, with like keep an eye, like if Westbrook gets ruled out, obviously you're gonna want to take the over on Ish. So like keep an eye on that one, and like try to hit it quick. When Westbrook gets ruled out, is go to Ish and just take the over. But yeah, a lot of these seem pretty good. Yeah, these are looking pretty solid. Maybe the under on Gaffer, that feels a little bit high for a guy that, decent chance he gets in some foul trouble, but it's actually, they're pretty sharp projections, I think. Okay, favorite value under 4K, good question. Let's take a look. So, I'm going to be honest, so under 4K, if it's 4K flat, for me it's Bobby Portis, because he's a guy that can do it all and is getting about 15 to 20 minutes. I like Bobby Portis for value. If it's below 4K, I'm just going to be honest, there's nothing I feel super confident about. But there's some playable guys. So you got Bane that I think gets about 25 minutes on the bench. Fine. Millsap, more the high risk, high reward. He's not going to play a ton, but is a decent point for the guy playing the backup 5. I will say, if Westbrook gets ruled out, it's definitely Neto. It's definitely Neto if Westbrook gets ruled out. And then you have those Milwaukee guys. So you have Forbes and Connaughton. So it would be Portis. If you had to pick someone below 4K, I guess it's one of the Milwaukee guys. But yeah, I really don't have like a good read. And my worry with Connaughton and Bryn Forbes is Milwaukee just adds another guy to the rotation. They just throw Jeff Teague, and Forbes only plays 20, and Connaughton only plays 20, and then Teague gets some run. It's a tricky one. I will say there's nothing I feel really good about. Sorry if I can't get to any questions, guys. Okay, so Pat Connaughton is starting. So that does change some things now. Let me refresh that. Thank you for putting that in there. Again, I'll stay on for another minute. Okay, yeah, so Pat Connaughton's starting. So for me, now the answer is Pat Connaughton. Now the answer is Pat Connaughton for me. He's at 3-4 and he's starting. I would assume we get over 20 minutes from him. I think that's a pretty fair guess. I think he could play 20 to 30 minutes, somewhere in that range. Now, could he play just DiVincenzo's minutes and play like 30 to 32? It's possible, but I think a 20 to 30 minute kind of projection is pretty fair for Pat C. If he only plays 20, there's a chance he could bust. If he plays close to the 30-minute mark, I have a hard time seeing him failing. So I think the answer for me right now is Pat Connaughton. I'm actually kind of happy he is starting over Bryn Forbes, because he was the value guy I would actually feel better about than Forbes. So yeah, with Pat Connaughton starting, he's going to be popular. Yes. I think there's argument to fade him in GPPs. He's still a lower usage guy, so you don't have to play him. Yeah, for me, it's Connaughton over Bane. Is Pat a trap? Taj burned me bad. The thing is, though, like with Taj, he was a phenomenal play. You got to look at that and just be like, did you expect Nerlens Noel to play 20-plus minutes off the bench on a limit? And also, like, you look at the ownership and the higher dollar stuff, he was 70-80% Taj. So, like, he was a good play, even though it didn't work out. So, yeah, there's lack of value. I think Pat Connaughton looks pretty solid here. And, yeah, that's going to do it for me, guys. I got to go stream for Patreon. So, good luck today. Hope for no blowouts, no foul trouble, most importantly for me. You know what's going to happen, though. and hope for some big winners from you guys. And again, appreciate all you guys coming to check out the stream. Enjoy these games. I'll be back here Sunday. So I will see you guys all then.